How to know when you are dealing with a jealous person, jealous people who desire to harm you and protect yourself from them. Welcome to All Things Woman, where we discuss femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. So if any of that interests you, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Tonight we are talking about how to tell when you are dealing with jealous, unhealed people who are trying to harm you in some way. How to know and how to handle jealous people. Jealousy and envy can be very, very destructive. Hello, Miss Loretta, how are you? Jealousy and envy can be very destructive. And if you are surrounded by jealous, unhealed people all of the time, you could possibly be in harm's way. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to recognize when you're around jealous, envious people, when you're surrounded by those type of people, and how you possibly might be in harm's way. Social media currency. Hello, lady. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Absolutely, I am. Thank you so much, social media currency. I'm well, and how are you? I'm doing great, Miss Loretta. Thank you so much for being here. TikTok. Welcome to All Things Woman, where we discuss femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. Subscribe to the All Things Woman YouTube channel. Tonight we are discussing how to know when you are dealing with jealous, envious people, jealous, unhealed people who desire to do you harm or possibly desire to do you harm in some way. There are so many women who have been subjected to jealousy and envy unbeknownst to them simply because they ignored the red flags, simply because they chose to overlook, or sometimes they were just so naive where they did not recognize they were in the midst of jealous, envious people who desired to do them harm. There are some people who they can go under the radar when it comes to their jealousy and envy towards you. You are so welcome, Dana. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you find the videos helpful. Tonight we're going to be discussing actually five specific ways that you can tell, in my opinion, that you are surrounded by jealous people, jealous, unhealed people who desire to do you harm in some way. The number one way you can tell that you are around jealous people who desire to do you harm in some way, you are always the butt of their jokes. Everything you say and do is funny to them. Everything you say and do is funny to them. When people are jealous and unhealed and you're surrounded by them, even when you're not being funny, even when you're being completely serious about whatever you feel, whatever you're saying, they will always take you as if you are joking in some way. Jealous, unhealed people, very rarely do they take things seriously when it comes to the target of their jealousy and envy. As women, if you are surrounded by other women and you're in these friend groups, if you're in these groups of women and you're always the butt of the joke, you're always the target of the prank, you're always the one being set up for some kind of foolishness, they're always trying to get you to look stupid in some way, those people are not your friends, and they're jealous and unhealed people. People who truly respect you and love you and see you as a true friend or companion, they're not always setting out to make you look stupid. I'm not saying that as friends, you can't prank one another here and there. That might be your way. You tell funny jokes. You like to, get one another, but it's reciprocal. It's never one person always being the butt of somebody's joke. It's never only one person being pointed out to look stupid or foolish in every situation. But when somebody is jealous and envious of you, when you're surrounded by jealous, unhealed people, they always make you the target of their pranks, of their funny jokes, of their backhanded compliments, of their, whatever they're saying, their negativity. It's always about you. Pierre, welcome to the channel. I am so glad that you're here. You're a new subscriber to the All Things Woman YouTube channel. I appreciate you for being here. TikTok, once again, I know there's a little delay sometimes, but we are talking about how to handle jealous people, how to recognize when you're dealing with jealous, unhealed people who desire to do you harm in some way. There have been so many horror stories of women who have lost their lives, women who are no longer with us, simply because they overlooked the red flags, overlooked the very things that were right in front of them. A lot of times this happens because women don't truly understand what it means to have genuine friendship. Unfortunately, some women who are a little naive, they grew up in environments where they were accustomed to women mistreating them and they didn't even know they were being mistreated. And it's not just women, men and women alike, but of course, this is all things women. So I speak to women first. But when a woman is in an environment, or she's used to being in an environment where people are constantly disrespecting her and belittling her, she might not even recognize when she's in the company of wolves. A lot of women have been programmed, have been conditioned to accept disrespect, belittling, so called innocent joking at their expense as normal. And what it has led to, it has led to a lot of women being around other people who desire to do them harm. Welcome, Dumas. Does the sign in text mean someone trying to make themselves superior to you via text? You have to display that again because I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. But the number one way you can tell that you may be surrounded by jealous people who desire to harm you in some way, you are always the topic of their jokes. You are always the target of their pranks. Anytime you get invited to something and now jokes on you, people are talking about you, trying to make you look foolish, those people are not your support system. Those people are not your friends. As women, I believe that we need to take ourselves a lot more seriously than what some of us do. When you take yourself seriously, other people will take you seriously. And regardless, people should show respect. But because they don't, you have to be the kind of woman who is easily able to read when somebody is playing in your face, as they say, or trying to make you their joke, or trying to make you the subject of whatever it is they're talking about that makes you look crazy and or foolish. As women, especially as you level up, you do better in your life. And I'm not just talking about financially leveling up. I'm talking about mentally, spiritually, physically. The more you elevate as a woman, the less tolerance you will have for dealing with people who desire to make you look like a fool. And a lot of these women, they get in these girl groups and they try to make the other woman look foolish simply because they're jealous of her in some way. And see, women who are jealous of other women, normally they already take themselves very seriously, overly serious. When people are a little bit insecure, they wear this facade that says, I want you to fear me. And when women are jealous of other women, they normally try to rule with intimidation. And when you're the kind of woman who's not easily intimidated, but you're not even on that radar because you don't think that way, you're not toxic in that way, you're not trying to prove yourself. Overly masculine women, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, overly masculine women tend to have these pissing contests. I hate that word, but that's the only way to explain it. They have these pissing contests with other women where they have to puff up their chest and show how strong they are compared to you, how they can try to intimidate or run over top of you. And if you're the kind of woman who's heavily in her feminine, which is great, but if you don't also have that queen mindset about you, you won't even see how other women are trying to manipulate and play you. And that's the reason why you have to be very, very clear when you walk into the room with other women who you feel are trying to make you the subject of their jokes or their foolishness. You are not, and I've said this before and I'm going to continue to say this. When you level up, not even if you're not leveled up, as a woman, you're not for anybody's entertainment. Don't let people make you their entire spiel, their entire butt of a joke. Don't let them make you the target for whatever it is they're talking about. You have some women who are very good at this, where they'll see a woman who seems like she's very kind, she's a sweetheart, she's nice. You don't really operate on that low vibe, and they can sense that. And normally, women who don't operate on that low vibe, They are the women who are targets for other women's who jealousy and envy, because they can sense when a woman has a sweet spirit. And I know it sounds crazy, because having a sweet spirit, being feminine, being kind, those are all positive things. But to a woman who is jealous of you, she sees that as an easy target, because she senses that you may be a little naive. That's why you have to also operate as a queen. That's why I believe it's important for women to be in their feminine energy, but also to have that queen energy also. That queen energy says that, yes, I'm soft spoken, maybe, I'm feminine, I'm kind, I'm nice, but you can't play me. I still see what you're trying to do, and you're not going to treat me that way. I'm not going to sit here and let you disrespect me. I see how you're talking to me and how you changed up in front of other people, and I'm not going to tolerate it. If you try to put the joke on me, the joke's going to be on you. I promise you, I will have the last laugh. A woman who is confident and takes herself seriously doesn't allow herself to be clowned by jealous, envious women. And women who are jealous and unhealed, they always look for ways to make other women look stupid, especially in the presence of a lot of other women. Don't let them do that to you. So, the number one way you may know that you are surrounded by jealous, envious women, jealous, envious people, and they're trying to harm you in some way. And when I say harm, I don't mean just physical harm, I mean mental, psychological harm as well. Some women are so accustomed to sitting around other women, putting them down, other people in general, putting them down, telling them how bad they look, telling them you're not cute, you're not this, you're not that. They start to believe it. Warrior above within, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Yes, like and subscribe to this channel. Some women always send thumbs up on chat. Well, I appreciate that, Dimash. I really do. My sister, your sister is like that, Angela. That's unfortunate. If you are around people like that, it's on you, and you can leave. The amateurs, I absolutely agree. And you can't leave something you don't recognize. So that's why I'm speaking on this, because a lot of women, as I said before, they've been conditioned and programmed to sit around people who are constantly putting them down, and they see nothing wrong with it because that's all they know. Some people in general, not just when it comes to jealousy and envy and all of that, just in general, toxicity is really all some people know. And if you don't recognize that those things are not normal, you're going to continue to put up with the behavior. They try to befriend you to bring you down. Lala Brown, absolutely. You have some women who are very malicious in that way. They try to befriend what they look at as the weakest link in order to put you down and make you look bad in some way. Dealing with people like that can be very draining to your spirit, can be very exhausting to deal with, and it will stop you from leveling up and doing better as a woman if you tolerate it. You're talking to us because no one is in your life is listening. And you're on this live complimenting on a woman, all things woman chat, because you have no life. How about that? But interracial marriage is a sin. Weirdo energy, remove, remove, remove. Alrighty. So yes, the number one sign you're dealing with, or possibly dealing with, a jealous, unhealed person who is trying to bring harm to you, they always make you the subject or the object of their jokes, of their pranks, and their goal and mission every time you're around them is to make you look dumb in some way. And you do have a choice on whether or not you choose to tolerate that, because people will only take you as serious as you take yourself. Number one. The number two way that you can tell you may be dealing with jealous, unhealed people who are trying to do you harm in some way is that they do not honor your boundaries. You are so welcome, Eva Boutique Emporium 120. I appreciate you for being here. Number two way, you're dealing with somebody who might be jealous and unhealed and trying to do you harm. They do not respect your boundaries. These are your people who you tell them exactly what you have going on. You tell them what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. You let them know, please don't call me after 9 o'clock. Don't call me after 10 o'clock. I have to get sleep. I have to go to work tomorrow. I have a meeting, what have you. And these are your people who are without fail, 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. sharp. They're calling your phone, they're texting you. Now they have a pressing emergency that they need you and only you to tend to. They don't respect your boundaries. And people like that, I believe a lot of these things are spiritual. When you tell somebody you have something going on during a certain time and they deliberately wait for that time to reach out to you, that's a saboteur. That's a jealous spirit who's trying to get in the way. That's how I see it. If I told you don't call me at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock because I'm at work or I'm doing something, now you're trying to distract me from getting my money. Now you're trying to distract me from things that matter to me. Why? Didn't I tell you what I was doing? But they do it anyway because they don't care, because they don't respect you, because they're jealous of what you're doing. They're jealous of what you're accomplishing. That's why, and I mentioned this before, and this is very odd dynamic of a man who took it upon himself to propose to his girlfriend once she almost hit the finish line of a marathon that she trained for weeks and I'm sure months on end. He waited until that last moment of her about to win the race to get down on his knee and ask her to marry him. If that is not a lack of self awareness and maybe a little bit of sabotage, I don't know what is. Now, yes, some people just lack self awareness. Sometimes they just don't know. But if he watched her closely and he cares, he had to understand that she trained, that's something that's important to her. Why disrupt it? But you have some people, because they don't do the same things that you do, nor do they even respect what you do, they'll try to sabotage it in some way or distract you in some way. These are your people who you can tell them, don't touch my stuff. I'm very picky about my stuff. You have a roommate or somebody you're living with, and you tell them, don't touch my stuff, please. Like, I'm going to put this here. If you want to use it, ask me. But then they go out of their way to just go ahead and destroy whatever it is you have because they don't care. They didn't have to work for it. It's here. They have that entitlement spirit about them. People, and this is how you may know, the number two way you may know that you're dealing with a jealous person, jealous unhealed person who doesn't like you and desires to do you harm physically or mentally. They don't respect your boundaries. They don't care what you have. They don't care what you worked for. They don't care about your home. They don't care about your things. They will destroy whatever you have simply because they're jealous and envious. Sometimes they think you don't even deserve the things you have, so why should I care about it? You have that good job, I don't. So I don't care if I disrupt your schedule. Or they take for granted the things that you do. They take the things that you do lightly. Oh, you're just doing those little, you're writing a little book. That's not real work. That's not this. You're doing a YouTube channel. You're doing a video. Who cares about that? And it's all because they're not bold enough to do what you're doing. So somehow they have to try to get in the way via calling you at the wrong time when you told them not to call, showing up unannounced to your home, to your workplace. See, people, sometimes they think that because they know you, they should always have access to you. These are people who don't take you seriously, once again. And sometimes, I must say, that's of our own doing. When you don't teach people how to treat you from the very beginning, they will try your patience, they will test your salvation, and they will see how far they can go before you snap. And that's a lot of their goal a lot of times. They want to see you come out of character. As feminine but queen energy women, we have our sanity, we have our peace of mind to think about. And you have to be very mindful when you're dealing with jealous, unhealed people because, once again, they don't care about how hard you're working or how hard you have worked. All they want to do is sabotage and destroy what you're doing. They want to throw you off your game. I believe mentally it starts first when it comes to people trying to distract and sabotage you. Thank you so much for the super chat, for the super thanks. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. So the number two way you may be dealing with a jealous person and they may be jealous, unhealed, and trying to harm you in some way, they don't respect your boundaries. People who dare to show up at your place of employment, those kind of things I do not understand. And these are your relatives. These are, clingy boyfriends. These are clingy, over, intrusive friends who don't take seriously what you're doing, and they come there not even look appropriate and want to just be involved with what you're doing. See, people who don't respect your boundaries, they don't respect the image, they don't respect what you're trying to build. Women who are truly leveling up and trying to do something with themselves, I'm going to let my 16-year-old daughter hear this. I'm guessing you're saying that is so sweet, and I'm so honored that you really believe that this will help your 16-year-old. I appreciate you, and I appreciate that, and I hope that it does help her. The things I talk about are things that unfortunately I had to go through and or observe. I wish I had more women in my corner telling me some of the things that I had to go through in order to learn. But yes, they do not respect your boundaries. Getting back to that, I've had people show up at my workplace talking all ghetto, looking all ratchet. I just have to say how it is. Talking all ghetto, talking all crazy, thinking that the way you talk to me when we're home or when I see you at your place, you can do the same thing when you come to my place of employment. I straight up act like I did not know that person. I'm like, did you need help? Like, I don't know you, because right now you're acting like you have no home training. But when people don't respect what you're doing, they're going to show up in their worst possible way. They're going to show up in the way that tries to make you look as if you're not that girl. Because have you ever heard of the saying guilty by association? That's what they want. They don't even care if they make themselves look stupid in the process by making you somehow look stupid. Saboteur, the way I see it. But the number two way you can tell you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person, they do not respect your boundaries. They don't respect the things that you have going on. And because they don't respect it, they just dump all over it. Number two. The number three way you can tell you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who desires to do you harm, and I should have made this number one, they invite you into uncomfortable situations. Anytime you're dealing with, and this is what poses as an uncomfortable situation in my book, when you're around people, as ladies, this is just rule number one. When it comes to these girls' trips, when it comes to these events that are massive groups of women, unless you're going to a work function or something where you all share a common interest, there should be more people there that you know than women that you don't know. Unless this is business. If it's business, of course, you want to make new connections, you want to do networking, perfectly fine. You're going to be around strangers. Eventually, when we have our All Things Woman events, you're going to be around women you have to get to know. But the difference is that hopefully we are all like-minded and we have the same common goal. But when it comes to personal life, you want to make sure you're not going into these big groups of women where you don't barely know anybody except for one person. Once you get to a certain age, those things cease to become cute, and you no longer are interested in putting yourself in environments where you feel uncomfortable, and you don't let people pressure you into being in uncomfortable environments. You see this often with women who are secretly jealous of other women, and they want to get you around their little clique so they can make you feel uneasy. Some women, and I have to emphasize this, when they are jealous of you, they get a kick out of making you feel intimidated, uncomfortable, and pressured in some way. They will make sure they get you around. Eva Boutique Emporium, Shaquilla Robinson made realize that I don't want to attend all these girls' trips. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Shanquilla Robinson incident that happened, I don't understand why these people are still free. There was this fake article that was posted about the Shanquilla Robinson case that said that some of these people were extradited back to Mexico, which turned out to not be true. I truly don't understand why these people are still roaming free when they have video of what they did to this girl. But unfortunately, we now have that as an example of what not recognizing the red flags of dealing with jealous, envious people can absolutely do to you. And this is also a sign of when women don't recognize their own greatness, because so many women are doing great things, but they lack a little bit of self esteem. They don't recognize when it's like, okay, I'm not the same person. I'm no longer that girl that's not really doing anything with my life. I have a business, I have this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm moving in different circles. I have to be careful with the people I'm surrounding myself with because they're not doing. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that and acting accordingly. I'm not saying mistreat people, no. I'm not saying mistreat people. I'm not saying look down on people. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying recognize where you are and what season of life you're in and act accordingly. If you know that you're at a point right now where you're making more money than you've ever made before, where you're doing all these big things that you've never done before, the people who are sitting around mocking you might not be the ones that you want to keep close. The people who are not showing that enthusiasm, they have that dead energy anytime you give them good news. Those are probably not the people you want to have right around you while you're doing all of those things. This is not pride. This is not being conceited. This is not thinking you're better. This is your protection. With somebody who just won the lottery walk down the street with the $1 million check in their hand? Absolutely, they would not. They would be very covert, they would be very private about what they have just won. They would treat it as sacred. And not enough women treat themselves as sacred. You expose yourself to every bozo, every person who you think. Some women, I have to say this, some women are so desperate for friendship and just want to have that aesthetic of having a lot of girls around them, they surround themselves with wolves. There's nothing wrong with recognizing where you are in this season of your life and removing certain people or keeping your distance from certain people. So, the number three way that you can tell you're dealing with a jealous person who may be, you may be in harm's way, you're dealing with a jealous, envious person, is that they invite you into uncomfortable situations. And one of the ways you can protect yourself from that is to make sure you're not surrounding yourself or going to these events where you barely know anyone, these private, personal events. I've seen so many horror stories of women going to these parties around women they do not know. And no, I can hear somebody now, it just came to me. I'm not saying be scared. Above Ruby's TV, welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to the chat. Absolutely right. I believe that too. Because some people, when people get money, money is great. It's a resource. You need that. Absolutely. Get as much of it as you can legally, but get as much of it as you can. But some people, they see that as like a target on your back, you have to guard it. But ladies, the number three way you may be dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who desires to harm you, they invite you into uncomfortable situations. Ladies, when you're around a bunch of women and the vibe feels off, your intuition tells you something is wrong, believe it. When your intuition, the Holy Spirit, when God shows you, get out of this situation, this doesn't feel right, I don't feel comfortable. When you're around a bunch of women, you're supposed to be commingling, you're around in an event and nobody's looking at you, nobody's talking to you, they're rolling their eyes at you, having side conversations, get out of there. There is strength in numbers, be it positive and negative. And women who carry jealous energy, have a jealous spirit toward other women, they normally operate in packs. And if you are the lone wolf in that pack and you can sense the tension, you can sense that the energy is off, get out of there. You have nothing to prove. That's one of the beautiful things about being a woman who gravitates to her feminine energy. She does not surround herself with people who make her feel uncomfortable. Now, I can hear someone saying, well, maybe that's your own insecurities. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. Regardless, if you feel uncomfortable, you should leave. But I'm talking about tension coming from other women. Many of us as women, if you are at least 25 years old, You have experience being in a room where you come in and speak to the women and they act like they didn't hear you, but yet they roll their eyes at you. They talk to everybody but you. They try to go out of their way to make you feel uncomfortable. And this happens more times than not when you deliberately walk into environments where you are the odd person out, where you don't really know anybody. All my in-laws, that can be a heavy dynamic to deal with, and because of marriage, that can be definitely something you have to learn how to maneuver around. But when it comes to these random one-off events where women are choosing to be in these big girl groups, these big woman groups around women who mistreat them, who act like they don't exist, stop staying there. And then women don't understand that people carry spirits. I'm going to be spiritual for a moment. People carry spirits. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who are negative and their energy is off, and you walk out of there wondering why you feel depressed and you feel bad about yourself, it's because you just surrounded yourself with a bunch of people who sucked your energy right out of you, and that's their goal. When people are jealous of you and they want you to feel like you don't belong, and yet they invite you only for you to feel like you don't belong, those are not your people. Stop being so desperate to be around other women that you surround yourself with people who, as they say, just tolerate you and not celebrate you. And honestly, I don't even need somebody to celebrate me, just respect. Exactly, it's evil. Latoya Cunningham. Non-educated in-laws. I'm from a different place. Game, I wish I could talk to you. You can talk to me. I am sorry. I do one-on-one coaching. So if anybody is interested in doing one-on-one coaching, I do that. I don't advertise it the way I should, but I do offer one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in that, the email is in the description box of most videos and in the description box of the actual channel name. So just go there and you can book with me, email me, and we can talk. What if it's at work? So what if people are trying to make you feel uncomfortable and excluded at work? Don't associate with those people. Go to your job, do your work, and go home. My job was the place I had to leave. That too. If it gets so unbearable where you feel like you cannot deal with the environment anymore, remove yourself. As women, we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And some women, again, it goes back to that programming of believing you have to tolerate bad behavior. My mom has 8 sisters. My grandma, before she passed, all her sisters, nobody really likes her. But now I'm grown and it went away. But yes, don't let people mess your money up. That part, yes. So for me, I am all for walking away from a job, but I'm not for walking away from a job because women are trying to make you feel uncomfortable. If it's anything short of them being in your personal space, that's when you have to kind of build up your confidence, especially if you have to be there. And that's why I advocate for women having their own business so that all of their eggs are not in one basket. But I'll do a video on that later. Leslie Williams, yes, it took me 3 years to say I can't take it anymore. And sometimes it's like that. I've been in environments where, thankfully, and this is how why I say as women, spiritually, God literally moved people out my way. And there have been a lot of jobs that I've had where people were giving me a hard time. Women were acting snarky and catty. They were trying to make things hard for me. And then next week, they got fired. Next week, they no longer work there. Something happened and they had to go to a different site. It's like God always organizes the environment for me where I don't have to deal with these people for very long. It's like he hears the prayer. It's like, what is that? The prayers of the righteous avail much. I believe that wholeheartedly. When people are giving you a hard time and God is looking after you, he'll move those people out the way. I believe these things are spiritual. So thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that for a long time because somehow they were just let go, fired, out the way. Try to give me a hard time and now you're out the way. That's just how it goes for some women. I have the contact information. This really will help me praise. I'm not sorry. Yes, I look forward to speaking with you. Email me and I can get the details so we can set up that time. But ladies, the number 3 way, and that was the number 3 way that you may be dealing. You can know signs of a jealous person, sign you're dealing with jealous people, how to handle them. These people invite you to uncomfortable situations. And ladies, don't let yourself be pressured. Peer pressure is still a thing, even amongst adults, adult women. When it comes to bullying and dealing with peer pressure and those kind of things, those are not normally words that you hear said amongst women in adulthood. Unfortunately, these are things that are still happening amongst women. And you see this when you get into these big groups of women who are jealous and unhealed, and they want to make other women feel the way that they do. As the saying go, misery loves company. And when somebody is inviting you into an environment where they know that they really don't want you there, they just want you there so that they'll have something to talk about or somebody to talk about, or they're hoping that you and your sweet spirit will be their entertainment. Because a lot of women today, I have to say how it is, they're very savage, they're very bully like, they're very manly. And because of that, they see a feminine, soft, reserved woman, a woman who is kind and gentle, as somehow weak. Ladies, if you're around that type of energy and it makes you feel uncomfortable, remove yourself. Now, I want to put a disclaimer. When I say masculine women, I'm not talking about women who might be a little bit loud, women are more outgoing. Nothing wrong. That's a character trait. If you're a more extroverted kind of woman, that's fine. When I'm talking about manly and masculine, I mean you are always trying to make somebody feel uncomfortable with the inappropriate and uncomfortable way that you make other women feel. You're trying to make a woman feel like she doesn't belong by exposing her to people who you know don't like her. And a woman who has been through these situations, you can tell when somebody really doesn't like you, and yet the room is filled with women who feel like you have some kind of standoffish energy. It's because they feel insecure in your presence. So, ladies, don't go to situations, and to sum up point number three, don't go into environments where people make you feel uncomfortable, whether it be jealousy, envy, or just a regular day. If people are making you feel uncomfortable, don't go there. Don't feel pressured. Just because somebody in your friend group is saying, I'm going to so and so party. If you know that every time you get around so and so, she's treating you some kind of way, rolling her eyes, trying to make you feel uncomfortable, don't go. The beautiful thing about being a woman in her 30s, 40s, and so on, you start not to care about those kind of things. If somebody rubs you the wrong way or you get a bad vibe, you just make them an acquaintance and say, how you doing? All right. Good? All right. It's small talk. You become that woman that says, I don't need to be closely connected to somebody that makes me feel uncomfortable. If I see you in passing, how you doing? But I'm not going to go sit in an event with you. For what? I don't like being around you. Your energy is off. And it's okay to recognize that as a woman, as a person in general. I pick up on energy quick. Yes, Loretta Thomas, that is a thing. And some people who don't understand about energy, well, when I say energy, I mean trying the spirit. It's spiritual. Know about the spirit of the person that you're around. If they make you feel uneasy or uncomfortable, it's something about them. Get away. The number four thing above Ruby's TV, it's hard when you work directly with an enemy. The attorney that worked for her has gotten nastier by the day. She got behind in court. Yeah, in the workplace, it can be very difficult to kind of remove yourself from some people who are that way, because now when it comes to the workplace, especially if this person is a manager, a boss, a superior in some way, I will say these people, the self-talk you can have is to remind yourself or tell yourself it's not personal. Now, you said you work for an attorney, and I'm not making an excuse for them at all. But depending on the job, they're already under pressure, and some people don't know how to handle pressure. Some people should not be in a supervisor or managerial role because they don't know how to handle pressure. They start mistreating other people, the very people that they need. But in that case, I will say, try not to personalize it. Like, they chose the hard path, that's their problem. And true, you can just ask them, like, what's going on? Is everything okay? You can show empathy, you can show concern, but if they continue to mistreat you or disrespect you in some way, I would just stop talking to them, let them be miserable. It ain't about me, it's about the career path they chose. I'm not going to worry about it. But the number three way to tell you may be dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who may desire to harm you, they will always invite you into uncomfortable situations. They want you to be surrounded by women who they know don't like you. You even have this with family members, which is very weird. They will go out of their way sometimes. If they're jealous of you and jealous of how you move, if they know, and I'm going to say this, and this might rub some people the wrong way, and I'm perfectly fine with that. When they know that you are a more refined woman, and I'm not just talking about how you look, I'm talking about how you move as a woman. So I'll give you an extreme example. Let's say you're a spiritual woman, okay? You're a spiritual woman. You're a woman, you don't do a lot of rah-rah. You don't do all that confrontation. You don't do a whole lot of crazy talking, craziness. You're more reserved. They will invite you into situations where they know people who may make you uncomfortable will be there. And they don't even tell you that. You'll just get there and suddenly you got people acting crazy. You got people coming at you. You got people, asking you all these questions about personal things you never gave them information about. That's the number two thing. They don't respect your boundaries. They'll give your information to people they're close to, but you're not close to. If that is not toxic, I don't know what is. This is English. This is the English language, Varna. Where are you located? And ladies, this is where your wisdom and discernment comes in. You have to know the people you're dealing with. If there's a possibility that they have people there who they make jokes about the fact that you're a spiritual woman. Oh, you a Christian now. Oh, you love God. Oh, you going to church now. Oh, you doing this now. Oh, you all about this now. Those probably are not your people if they speak to you that way. And yet, some women still surround themselves with women who put them down in that way simply because they want to say they're a part of the family, they're a part of the group. You can love your family from a distance and not click with them because your lifestyle is different. That's okay. So the number 3 way, my husband's new stepmom, whatever she might be, I treated her better than anybody else in the family. Sorry, jealous, she now needs a kidney. See, you can't mistreat people and think that things are just going to be okay for you. That's never how that works. And unfortunately, people learn the hard way. But the number 3 way, absolutely, you have to, I am my own person. You have to ignore them. Definitely, if you can, ignore them. My go-to is ignoring them and removing myself from the situation. One thing feminine women do not do is go back and forth with people. We don't mind conflict when it happens, but we don't like it. We don't like drama. We don't like doing all that back and forth. So the number 3 way, you may be dealing with a jealous person who is unhealed and desires to do you harm. They want and like to put you in uncomfortable situations. They don't respect your boundaries. Number 3. The number 4 way you can tell you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who desires to put you in harm's way is they show no empathy for you. When you go through things, and this is a thing amongst women, especially when they're jealous of other women, they don't have any empathy or sympathy for the things that you go through. A woman, when she's jealous of other women, she is more quick to show empathy and sympathy toward men than she is toward women. When a woman is heavily male identified, not saying there's anything wrong with loving men, being around men, nothing like that, but when a woman is heavily male identified and everything she does is for the male gaze or wants to get the approval of a man, she will mistreat other women and leaving men out of it. If she does not like you, if she's jealous of you, she will be the less likely to show empathy toward you. You could be in a workplace where you ever go in a workplace and a man is sick, but he came to work. Next thing you know, you got this woman running around, she's getting tea and cough drops, trying to help him, asking him, are you okay? Why did you come to work? You should have stayed home. But let it be you. If you are the object of her jealousy, if she's jealous of you and she doesn't like you anyway, she has no empathy for you. This can be your jealous bosses, your jealous supervisors. You could tell them you have a family emergency and they could care less because they're jealous of you. And they look at that as a slight at you. My hairstylist is a very envious person, but she does excellent hair. She's very miserable and lacks empathy. If she keeps him away from me, it's all good. Yes, jealous women, when they're jealous of other women, they lack empathy for other women. You could be going through something and they always dumb down the thing that you're going through. You could tell them, and they always like to mirror the things that you go through. So you can tell them, my child is going through this right now. Oh yeah, I dealt with that. It was no big deal. She got over it. Oh, well, I'm going through a tough time right now. I don't know why they're treating me this way. Well, they treat everybody that way, so you'll be all right. I can't stand people that will not just let you have your moment. You can tell when somebody is jealous and bitter because every time you say something, when you're trying to express the genuine emotion about something you're going through, they always have to rebut you with what everybody else is going through. You're not the only one. And that goes without saying, you're not the only one. But a woman who cannot show empathy toward another woman is often bitter and jealous toward that woman. And oftentimes she believes you deserve whatever it is you're going through. It's a toxic mentality, Loretta, unfortunately. And only because I've experienced it and I know other women who have experienced this, do I know about this. It's something very odd about a woman who is unable to lean into her femininity, to lean into her God given character as a woman, and show true empathy toward other women. These are your women who often get a kick out of seeing women being cheated on because they believe they didn't deserve happiness anyway. You ever meet a bitter, miserable woman who has never had a healthy relationship? When she sees you get hurt by a man, she's looking at you as if somehow you deserve that. Or if things were too good and that man slips up or you have an issue, now all of a sudden she's like, well, it happens to the best of us. Oh, well, that oh, well mentality. Male centered, absolutely. And it's because they never experienced peace. They never experienced a healthy relationship. Maybe nobody ever checked for them in that way. So when you do happen to go through a hard time, it's like, oh, well, things happen. Oh, well. But let a man go through that same thing. You didn't deserve her. You could do better than that. Anyway, she wasn't that cute. I've heard these kind of indignant conversations in real life. And it's unfortunate how bitter and miserable and vicious some women can be. But unfortunately, that's how it is. And I feel like I have to say this since the internet likes to be confused. All women are not like this. This does not apply to every woman in the world. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to the ladies on my channel, I would like to believe. It doesn't apply to some of you on TikTok. But there are a lot of women, a lot of people who very much have a savage, miserable mentality, and they get a kick out of seeing other people's downfall. Those are the people I'm talking about. Everyone is not this way. But in today's age, I can say that a lot of women lack empathy when it comes to how they treat their so-called sister. This girls movement is absolutely done, in my opinion. Yes, could you imagine being 48 years old, grown children, but still in shape? Older women about 60 years old stare at me in the public on the train with nasty looks. And I think that's the nature of a lot of women. They just are very nasty. Even in the beginning, she made herself unworthy of my energy, narcissist. Even some women who, over time, if you actually get to know them, because some women have this defense mechanism that says I must be nasty to a woman when I first meet her because my confidence is not there. So I have to be very mean, very nasty, very catty because I have to protect myself. You have some women who operate that way because they're insecure. They might not necessarily be jealous, but because they're used to being burned by women so much, they have this defense mechanism. They put up this facade that says, I have to get you before you get me. I'm going to treat you like a twitch before you treat me like one. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of some women. Some women don't allow themselves to be vulnerable in that way because they've been burned too much by other women. And I get it. I completely get it. For a while, I was that way. If I even came across women who reminded me of some of the women that I had to deal with in my younger years, I would automatically be put off by them. They were very triggering for me. Loud, obnoxious, overbearing, trying to always, over talk you and act like what you're saying doesn't matter. That was very triggering for me when I first got away from the people that I was surrounded by who were like that. Very overbearing, very obnoxious, trying to rule with intimidation. Women who are insecure always try to rule with intimidation. Not only until you grow into your confidence as a woman and not care because you realize normally they're all bark and no bite, as the old folks used to say. That's when you start operating as that feminine woman and you don't allow women and their jealousy to get you off your square. As women, we have to get back to that and read the signs. So, the number 4 way you can tell you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who may be trying to do you harm is that they have no empathy for you. And when I say they have no empathy, I mean they have no empathy. You could be sick. I remember I had a really bad flare up of reflux, and I was at work, and this person who's no longer there, I told her, I don't feel good. I need to go. I really don't feel good. It got to the point where I felt like I couldn't stand up straight because my stomach was bothering me so much. She saw this. I was not faking this. And yet, she tried to get me to wait until almost end of the shift before I left. Me being me, I clocked out anyway the moment I couldn't take it anymore because my health is more important than a job. And then I explained it to the manager that's over her, and everything was worked out. But no empathy. But I have witnessed this person being very lenient, being very kind to the other employees who happen to be males and showing them a lot of empathy, a lot of grace. Women who are jealous of other women, they show no empathy. They don't care what you're going through. Seeing you suffer in some way makes them feel good. That's why you have to look out for yourself and don't let them do you however they want to do you. It's irritating and annoying. Guess I gotta ignore people till they figure it out. I am my own person. That may be the case. This no empathy thing, that's very odd for women. As people, we should all be empathetic in some way, the ability to feel what somebody else is going through in a healthy way. But there are some people who are like, they don't feel anything. Unhealed. And when jealousy is combined with that, you may find yourself being a target of their jealousy. So the number 4 way you can tell that you are dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who desires to do you harm in some way, they show you no empathy. Number 4. The number 5 way, we are dealing with how to handle jealous people, who may be unhealed and trying to harm you. The number 5 way that you can tell you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person who may be trying to harm you is that they are physically and emotionally aggressive with you. This right here is the top number 1 sign in my book that you're dealing with a jealous, unhealed person. Warriors, I appreciate you. When somebody is physically aggressive and mentally aggressive with you, when they are jealous and unhealed, sometimes they look to be very rough physically with you. You have some women, and I mentioned this on a previous video, where this woman actually I didn't mention this one. Invite your favorite bestie to join your live. As of right now, TikTok, I am not taking any requests because TikTok is still relatively new to me when it comes to going live. But at a later time, when I check out your page, I will absolutely invite you to go live and collaborate with me. But physical and mental aggression. When you are dealing with a jealous, unhealed person, they can be very jealous. They can be very mentally and physically abrasive. Yes, I am my own person, multitasking again. I saw a video of a young lady. She told her friend, supposedly her fake friend, she told them, I cannot swim. And once she told them that, yes, TikTok and YouTube, I am my own person. When she told this person, I cannot swim, they pushed her into the water. Can you imagine telling your friend you cannot swim, and then they go ahead and push you into the water. They were on a deck of some sort. I don't know if they were on a cruise or something. I saw the video on TikTok. If you're from TikTok, you probably know what I'm talking about. They were standing on the deck. The girls were doing what they normally do, dancing, being cute, all of that, having fun. And then this lady pushed her into the water, knowing that she could not swim. She said it. Some women, when they are jealous of you, or you're getting a little bit too much attention, shining a little bit too much, now you're getting comfortable, they have to do something to tie into what I said in number one, make you look stupid. She embarrassed her and put her in harm's way by pushing her into the water. I saw another video of a woman. They were all taking selfies and everything in the car. And then all of a sudden, she tousled her hair a little bit. Very cute. Okay. But then all of a sudden, she gripped her head as if she was trying to take it off of her shoulders. Any woman, and this for me, I don't care how friendly we are. Thank you so much, Maria Amor. I don't care how friendly we are. I'm not going to let you rough me up and play roughhouse with me. Like, we're not wrestling. I don't have the kind of friends that require us to wrestle. Like, that's a very manly thing to do, if I must say. Women who are friends and they have to wrestle and tussle and do all those things. No, that's not what we do. Don't touch me. Not that way. We're not tussling and wrestling and all of that. Like, this is not WWE. Like, you're not tussling my head. That young lady was very nice. She gripped her head like she was ready to take it off of her shoulders. I'm sorry. In all of your femininity, your queen energy has to come out and say, don't touch me. What are you doing? You're doing too much. Stop. That girl's head, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. As ladies, respecting your boundaries, and actually number 5 ties into all of these. When they are physically and mentally aggressive with you, that's how they hide the aggression and jealousy, through playful fighting and competition. Yes, all that playfulness, playful fighting and all that. There's no play fighting amongst women. We're not play fighting. We're not men. We don't do those kind of things. Nina, I appreciate your channel very much. I appreciate you. Above Ruby's TV. Like, feminine women don't play fight. Like, any form of physical aggression, we don't do those things for play. Like, that's just not something we're doing. So the idea of my friend grabbing my head, I mean, a lot of these younger women, you're in your late teens, early 20s, you might still do things like that, which I still don't recommend, because the moment you get somebody comfortable putting their hands on you, that's when they take it too far. Some of that play fighting, people like Above Ruby's TV said, they use that as the opportunity to show their jealousy toward you through that play fighting. They want to take out their pent up frustration and aggression towards you by so-called playing. If you get somebody comfortable putting their hands on you, they will do the most, and you'll find yourself in harm's way for real. I do not suggest it. And once you get into your 30s and your 40s and so on, yeah, they invade your personal space. Like, we don't do that. That's not a feminine thing to do. Like, I have never had a friend that required me to put my hands on them and them put their hands on me, unless they're trying to save me from something. I had a friend stop me from tripping down the escalator. I had a friend stop me from tripping down the steps, held me back. But as far as tussling and play fighting, that's very childish. Women don't do that. For what? Unless you're doing it with your man. I mean, just friends. What is that? Getting too old for play anything. Absolutely. It's juvenile games. We're not play fighting with me. The moment you put your hands on me in an aggressive way, it's like, what's your problem? Like, what's going on? You okay? All right. I used to think that I am alone with this in Europe. Absolutely, you are not. A lot of women think they're alone with these topics, and you're not. It's the things that women have been conditioned to tolerate that are normal when they're not normal. It's all fun and games until it's not. That's why I believe you set the tone for how people treat you. Don't let people get comfortable putting their hands on you. I will tell my daughter that. Like, don't let some girl, y'all play fighting and stuff like that. No play fighting. No, you don't fight. Nobody. Unless you have to defend yourself. But play fighting, unless you're doing that, you're messing around with family, or you're, me, your dad, whatever, that's it. No. For what? What's the point of that? I don't need anybody taking up their pent up hostility toward me. Because women, because of the passive aggressive nature of some women, when they don't like a woman or they're jealous, it'll come out in passive aggressive ways, play fighting, joking, all these different things. And that just doesn't go for women only. It goes for men too. When somebody is jealous and envious of you, it can often come out as jokes, little comments, and things like that. Should you care? Absolutely not. I don't tell you any of these things so that you can sit back and wonder, I don't know why they're treating me this way. I don't understand. I don't like it. They're making. No, they don't have that much power. They can be annoying, they can be irritating, but they only have as much power as you give them. I believe that God is greater than your haters and your enemies and jealous people and people who desire to do you harm. But it's your job as a woman to have enough wisdom and discernment to recognize these things. You can't protect yourself from what you don't recognize. And the things that you don't recognize, yes, God can protect you from those things. You can't be aware of everything. But if you are familiar with all these things happening in the world, with all these women being caught up and being destroyed and being taken out of here by jealous, envious haters, it would be your job as a woman to do your due diligence, to vet the people you're around. That's not just men and relationships, that's also friendships. It's also some of your own family members. Some people would be better off if they got from underneath the roof of the toxic family member that's making life hard for them. Jealousy and envy is not to be played with. And when you're dealing with jealous, unhealed people, because as I've said, feeling jealousy, that's a common human emotion that we all have felt or feel from time to time. The issue is when people allow jealousy and envy to become their entire personality and they start mistreating people instead of dealing with it. That's the problem. Jealousy is something that people can heal from. Envy is something that people feel. You know, if somebody gets something that you wanted, of course, you might see it and be like, why them and not me? We've all been there. But the issue is when somebody sees you or they see other people, and instead of working toward that thing, they start working on you and attacking you personally. That's the problem. So, signs that you are dealing with jealous, unhealed people and you may be in harm's way, the number 5 thing is that they get physically and mentally aggressive. People who are jealous and unhealed, they don't want you to love yourself because they don't love themselves. They don't like to be around women, to be around people who are very self-assured. And being self-assured is not cocky or conceited. It just means that you can't be persuaded to think less of yourself because you validate your own feelings and you look at yourself in the way, as I believe, as God sees you. If God sees me as precious and valuable in his sight, then I don't care what other people think of me. And they won't like you because of that. When people want to be mentally aggressive towards you, they're always trying to crush your confidence. They don't want you to think that you're pretty. They don't want you to think that you are well spoken. They don't want you to think that you're intelligent. They don't want you to think anything positive about yourself. And they will remind you by telling you how you're not that cute, or you're cute for a dark-skinned girl, or you know those light girls, they're not going to let you do this. They're always limited by somebody else's opinion, but you're not. And because of that, they don't like it. I had one roll her eyes and stare because I said I was at the job to bring sunshine when they specific day was so gray and gloomy. Yeah, they don't like positivity. And if you're a little bit too cheery, women who are often jealous of other women, they see that as corny. They see womanly traits and femininity as corny. A woman saying that she's just shining as a light, that I'm here to bring joy, you know, those kind of things, that's corny. It's not corny. I mean, to a woman who's jealous of your character, they perceive that as being corny. When I lost weight, Maria Moore, when I lost weight, my hairstylist said, don't lose any more weight because I will look like a crackhead. Yes, that's their go-to, especially if you're a black woman or a woman of color. Anytime you lose weight, they often are going to accuse you of being on some kind of substance, or you are under a lot of intense stress. It can never be that you just worked your tail off to, make sure that you are exercising, eating right, so that you can look good. Wait a minute. Drag the puzzle piece into place. So what is this, TikTok? I have a time limit. TikTok, let me see. Let's see. What are they telling me to do? Okay, so I guess that means I can stay on TikTok. They just told me to drag the puzzle piece into place because you only have 4 more minutes to go. I don't understand, but okay. People got too much time on their hands to not do what they're supposed to do. Absolutely. They sit back and scrutinize what everybody else is doing instead of focusing on themselves. But as I was saying, when you lose weight, and you notice this is not a black or white thing, this is all things woman. But when a black woman loses a lot of weight, people automatically assume she's highly stressed or on some kind of substance. But when they see a woman who's not of color losing a lot of weight, they just assume that's a part of her life. She's eating salads. That's what they do. Why can't that be the same for a woman of color? If you're a black woman and you eat salads, that's your lifestyle. That's not a diet you're on, it's a lifestyle choice. We need to normalize that. Stop accusing somebody of being on substances or being stressed because they're losing weight. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Yes, some have some kind of incurable disease as well. Very weird. But when people are jealous of your weight loss and you're looking good, and that's one of the signs that you're looking good and leveling up in your looks, they start accusing you of everything. The new thing now that women are saying about women who lose weight, everybody's on Ozempic. If she lose weight, she's on Ozempic. I don't know if it's Ozempic or Ozempic, but they all automatically accuse you of taking that weight loss shot. People and their assumptions. There are some women who really do just have that kind of self-love and self-care where they like to look after themselves and do what's best, including keeping up with their weight. I recently started working out more often than what I do. I used to work out like once or twice a week. As of late, I've been working out 3 to 4 times a week because my kids just graduated, and like I'm a mother, but I don't want to look like a mother, if that makes sense. I know some women out there will understand exactly what I'm saying. I don't want to look motherish, if that makes sense. So yes, when it comes to weight loss, yes, you have some people, if they're jealous of you, they can't believe, if you have a big backside naturally and it's shapely and you do your squats, automatically you have the BBL. They always make assumptions for why you're looking good. And it's because you look good. My hairstylist blocked me on social media. I'm assuming because she's a hater and miserable. That's wonderful. When people block you, you should take that as a blessing because you didn't have to put yourself in the awkward situation of having to go and block them. They blocked themselves. They did you a favor. When you're rejected by somebody who's jealous of you and they feel intimidated or threatened by you, you should take that as a compliment. And it's not that you're seeking for somebody to be jealous of you. You may not even think of yourself in that way. But some people, as I've said before, they can see the potential in you before you can. My housemate, Sapphire's Palace, my housemate says my body is perfect since I got my hair done. She's been giving me the silent treatment. Yeah, that's a passive thing that women do too. When they see you kind of amplifying yourself, they see you looking good, they don't want to talk to you anymore. I spoke about that in yesterday's live. You should check that out. How suddenly they'll start giving you the silent treatment and not talking to you simply because now they're jealous of what you're doing. See, women, and this is not about looks per se or beauty per se, but when you are a woman who once didn't really give that much time and attention to your looks, you just kind of rolled out of bed looking however, and you start to work on your looks, you become more intentional about how you show up in the world. There are some women who cannot receive that because they don't do that. And it's more times than not, it's not about you, it's about their own insecurities. A woman can never or doesn't ever have to be jealous of another woman when they can focus on themselves, when they can focus on their own level up. One of the beautiful things about being a woman and being in your femininity is that you can focus on all those beautiful things that make you a woman. Focus on your self care, focus on your mental health, focus on your physical health, focus on, number one, I believe, focus on God. But when you do that, all those other things come into play. I will give compliments if it looks good. Quiet means they don't like it. And that's fine. Everybody doesn't have to like everything you're doing, but just don't be disrespectful, don't be mean, and don't be a hater. And that's the issue with a lot of women. They don't know how to keep their opinions to themselves. Instead, they like to spread their misery, their jealousy, and insecurity onto other women. That's the issue. But this this live chat was about how to know when you're in the company, how to know when you're dealing with jealous, unhealed people who want to make you feel uncomfortable and possibly put you in harm's way. The number one thing was jokes on you. They're always making jokes at your expense. You are always the butt of the joke. You are always the one who is the prank. You are always the one being left out to look stupid. Number two, they don't honor your boundaries. They know you have things going on and they will deliberately look to get involved in the things that you're doing or try to distract you in some way. You tell them not to call you at a certain time, they call you. Don't show up to my house unannounced, they still show up. They come to your workplace looking all kind of ratchet and showing up acting all kinds of inappropriate. Number three, they invite you into uncomfortable situations. Never sit in a room full of people who make you feel uncomfortable and make you feel like you don't belong. And it's that part, I am my own person. Some women have been programmed to deal with certain things all because they don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. Now, I'm not talking about showing grace to other people that are well intentioned. I'm talking about tolerating behavior from people who you know are jealous and envious and they're seeking to harm you in some way. They like to mistreat you. You don't tolerate those kind of things. And a lot of women have been taught that, you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. You don't want to ruin the vibe. Sometimes ruining the vibe saves your life as a woman. Sometimes ruining the vibe will protect you. As women, we have to be less concerned with other people's comfort and more concerned with protecting ourselves sometimes. But the number three point when you are surrounded by jealous people who may threaten to do you harm is that they invite you into uncomfortable situations. Don't bear being uncomfortable around people who you know don't like you and who only tolerate you simply because it seems like I should be here. It seems like the right thing to do. What will they think? Who cares? Number four, they show you no empathy. No matter what you're going through, they just don't care. You could be suffering from something, you could be experiencing something personal, but when a woman is jealous of you, she doesn't care. She has no empathy for your situation because oftentimes, whatever struggles you have, she feels like you deserve that in the first place. And the number four way you can tell you may be around jealous, unhealed people who desire to do you harm is they get physically, verbally, and mentally aggressive. I spoke about a situation between two women who were once friends. One was named Mimi and one was named Mo. Mimi and Mo were roommates. They were very close. The report said they were very close. They were very tight. They were always together. They were good friends. And I believe Mo would always get jealous when Mimi did something without her. When she went out with other friends, when she went out on her own, when she just was out and about, she didn't like that. She was jealous of this woman. That story is absolutely horrible. I suggest you look it up. Mimi was a bright light, Of course, I don't know these people personally. I'm going from the article and what other people said about her in that interview. They said she was very sweet, she was funny, she was fun loving, she was just a nice person, always willing to help. And Mo, being the leech that she is, took that lady's kindness for weakness and felt like she could control her. And this is a little bit of a sidebar from how to tell when you're around jealous people. And this is dealing with jealous, manipulative people who seek to control you. Mimi unfortunately paid the price with her life because she was around a jealous, manipulative person who wanted to control her. Mimi recognized her light. And people who are dealing with dark energy, have a dark spirit, they can tell when they're dealing with someone who is light, who has a sweet spirit, who is kind and willing to help. They take advantage of people who are like that, but are also naive. I believe Mimi, the reason why unfortunately she ended up dealing with this situation is because she was sweet, but she was also a little bit naive. And that's why I always advocate for women. You can be kind, but not nice. There's nothing in the scripture, from what I read, about being a nice person. It says being kind. When a woman is always so nice to people, the wrong people, sometimes you set yourself up to be taken advantage of. And people who have a very dark spirit, a dark energy about them, they can tell when you're a nice person and they take advantage of that. People who are jealous or envious of the light, the spirit that you have, and they get very possessive and they start obsessing over you. I believe Mo was very obsessed over Mimi. And there are some rumors saying that they were actually together. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. But even if it's not that kind of relationship, some women have this mentality that you're my friend only, no new friends. And yeah, you see this sometimes with younger women a lot of times, but you still see this with some older women, women in their 30s and 40s and so on, where they get very possessive and controlling over another person, where they feel like you can only be friends with me. You can only go out with me. Why are you inviting them places? Weirdo energy, absolutely. They're weirdo and possessive above Ruby's TV. And Mo was very possessive over Mimi. And unfortunately, she was so possessive and controlling that she ended up taking her out of here. That's absolutely horrible. Where a woman, and this is why jealousy can be very dangerous too, people can become so obsessed with you. They can be so obsessed with your energy. They will become so obsessed. I'm sorry, it's like that. Thinking about that story, because she didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. But women who are so kind and so nice to the wrong people, sometimes they pay the ultimate price because they were just not taught that you can be kind, but you still got to be a queen in your mindset and understand that every smiling face doesn't mean that they love you or they like you. They just see an opportunity. Some women who are jealous and envious of other women, they're opportunists. They want to get into your space and leech off of your energy. These women can be very dangerous, very manipulative. And unfortunately, Mimi paid that price. She was such a beautiful woman. And some women, they are beauty leeches. They just want to be in your midst because they want to be associated with you. And when they don't have boundaries, they take that to the extreme. When you're a woman that has physical beauty, in addition to having a beautiful personality, your character, the way you carry yourself as a woman, some people will leech off of that and want to control you. They feel like they own you. That's why I suggest never, ever, especially in the beginning, you don't get that close to nobody, no woman. Don't let them leech off of you. I have many friends, and it doesn't require me to give them money or a place to stay. As a grown woman, we have to learn how to have better boundaries with women. We have to know how to help our sister while keeping our boundaries. And I believe Mimi, she was probably taken over. Now, this is my speculation, but just from seeing how manipulative that Mo was in that interview, when the police were interviewing her, she actually faked a seizure. And they said that she did these kind of things with Mo anytime Mo was trying to get away from her. Anytime Mo wanted to go out without her or do something, suddenly she would have some kind of medical emergency or something is wrong that required Mimi to stay in the house. Manipulation. There was nothing physically wrong with her. I believe there was nothing physically wrong with this woman. She just wanted to stop Mimi from going out and about and shining her light amongst people. People who are jealous, envious, and possessive, their goal ultimately, a lot of times, is to drain your energy and drain your spirit. And they will do it if you let them. And no, I'm not telling you this because I believe that women should not be friends. You can't have women friends. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying be selective and read the room. Read the energy of the women you surround yourself with. All women are not crazy, manipulative, and jealous, but this woman, Mo, she absolutely was. Who knows what was going on inside of her head? But she was manipulative. Anytime a woman is so obsessed with your life, with your presence, that she doesn't want you to hang out with other people, that's a red flag. I don't care how much of besties you are, you don't own me. I can live my life. That goes for man or woman. Anybody who's trying to control and manipulate you by faking medical emergencies, these people are not dealing with a full deck, and you need to remove yourself from them. I learned from other situations as well. I am my own person. Yeah, that's a weird type of energy that, I understand, not from experience, but I will never deal with. It's like if I feel somebody getting too clingy, it's like, okay, I know you have your own things, I appreciate you. And then beware. This is another way that people and their obsession with being around you and they become possessive because they want to be in your proximity. Beware. And I know this might be an odd one, but somebody who's overly complimenting you, they're overly trying to be in your space, they're very intrusive. Those people have the capacity to become obsessed. And when they're jealous of you, you would think if they're jealous of you, they would want to stay away from you. But some people who are jealous and possessive, they want to be around you so they can take notes and then suck all of the good things out of you because they want to be you. That's a very weird type of energy, but it happens. And I believe that is what was happening with Mimi and Mo as well. It's very weird. Don't let yourself be caught up by people like that. Nina, it says, do you sisters? It's sad what happened to her. And that woman, she seemed like they said that Mo, what did they say? Mo was not working and Mimi was taking care of everything. Mo hadn't had a job in a long time. She wasn't, doing much of anything with her life. And honestly, Mimi, her confidence and her light, she probably felt bad for her. And that's one of the downsides of being an empath. All people should be empathetic, but when you're overly empathetic, because everything with balance, when you're overly empathetic with people, that's when you set yourself up to be taken advantage of. When you're overly empathetic with the wrong people. Nothing wrong with looking out for people for, once in a while. I'm a firm believer that if you're in my house or we're in the same space, if I'm eating, you're eating. Like, I'm not saying be one of those women that sit around and just watch your friend go hungry. Don't do that. But do they appreciate what you're doing? I'm not saying that you're doing it for their appreciation. I'm just saying, do they reciprocate once in a while? Do they try to do anything that looks productive? Are they not just leeching off of you and then acting like they control you? Because control and manipulation, those are things that should not be taken lightly. People who feel like they're entitled to you, that's a problem. I had 2 coworkers that swore they hated pink. It went away. Can you post? Do you think it's has to do with being a chosen one that God removes certain people out of your life? From a spiritual aspect, yes, I do believe that, I believe that God protects those who are, serving him, those who obey him. I believe all of that. Yes. I believe that God protects you from evil. I believe that. And I believe there's wisdom that comes with having a relationship with God too. But that incident, that's just crazy. And I don't know how long ago that happened, but it's I often wonder, like, what women did they have in their life? I had to break up with someone that was so controlling I could not breathe. Yeah, you reminded me. They even said that Mo was trying to keep Mimi away from her family. That right there is a red flag. When somebody's trying to separate you from your family, there are some women who actually have really good relationships with their family. Anytime suddenly you're in a relationship or a friendship with someone and now they're saying like you don't need to be around your family when you're okay with it, that's a problem. And for women, you often see this in some toxic relationships between men and women. Suddenly you're married or you're in a relationship and they don't want you around your family. When people try to isolate you, because isolation and manipulation, those can go hand in hand with people who are jealous, possessive, and envious of you. They try to keep you away from all voices of reason. They don't want you to be around people who recognize their toxic behavior. If you're around your mom or an aunt or a cousin who looks out for you, and they recognize the relationship you have with this person, people on the outside looking in can typically pick up on toxic traits before you can because you're in the situation. And they know that. When people are possessive and controlling and want to manipulate you, they try to isolate you. They don't want you to be around your auntie because they know auntie see how you act and they're going to be in her ear saying, that's not right. Like, you don't need to be around her because you notice how she acts every time you mention this. You notice the look she gives you every time you mention this. You didn't notice that? And see, women who don't recognize those red flags, they'll just be like, no, that's just how she is. And the person who's doing those things, who's trying to manipulate you and control you, they don't want you around those people because they recognize what they're doing. They try to isolate you. If someone isn't discerning about the friends they have, I do not pursue those friendships. Thank you, Anointed One. You have to have discernment and wisdom about the people you're around. And you have to know when somebody's trying to block you off from other people. Even if you don't prefer to be around your family, that should still be your choice. There should be no one who's telling you you don't need to be around them. I don't want you hanging out with her. Who are you to tell somebody they can't hang out with their mother or their aunt or their cousin? That's weird, in my opinion. If you get into a relationship and now you got to cut off your entire family, that's a red flag. Run, in my opinion. If you're in a relationship and now you have to cut off every good girlfriend that you had since high school or college, that's a problem. If you make a new friend and now she doesn't feel comfortable unless you're only doing things with her and you can't be around the people you've known for years, that's a problem. Isolation. When people desire to get you to do or to keep doing whatever they want you to do for them without incident, they don't want anybody around who's going to bring attention to their toxic behavior. And eventually, when you wake up and realize they've been controlling me, and it normally starts with how you think about things. When you start looking at everybody as your enemy, sometimes people who want to have complete control over you, they want you to think that everybody's your enemy, nobody cares about you, and it's only them that you need. A person who will try to convince you that you only need them and only them, they want you to be codependent, they want to trauma bond with you, that's a person you need to run from. And I truly believe that the situation with Mo and Mimi, there was a little bit of that also. It's almost like, and I know this might feel harsh for some people, but when you're a sweet-hearted person, when you have a kind spirit, and you're dealing with a jealous, envious, manipulative person who wants to control you, you almost look at them because they have these woe is me stories all the time. Because people who want to control you, they always come to you with something, my cat died, or, something happened. They always have some kind of extreme situation that just happened, not something they've been through. It just happened, and it requires your full attention. You go through something heavy, like your entire life is the movie Straw. So your life is that first 45, not even 45, 15, 20 minutes of straw, that's your life in real life, I find that hard to believe. Like, I can't handle that kind of chaotic energy. But you have some people, when they want to have control over you, that's what they want you to believe, that only you can fix them. A woman who operates in her femininity and protects her peace, we don't go around looking to fix other people. We get as involved as our spirit will allow us to get involved. And contrary to what some people believe, just because you're a spiritual person, if you're a Christian, you're spiritual, you're moral, that doesn't mean you have to help everybody. That doesn't mean you have to be there and let people trauma dump on you. I'm not God. I've said that to people before. Like, I can't handle this. You're triggering anxiety in me. Can't deal with that. As women, you have to know your boundaries and not let people trigger you into bad places mentally. There are some women who are healing from anxiety, depression, and things like that. The last thing you need is to be around people who trigger that in you. If you're not mentally strong enough to deal with certain things, tell people that too. Don't go out of your way trying to prove that somehow you can take on everybody's burdens. People who are overly empathetic, they often feel like they can take on everybody's burdens. No, you don't have to do that. The way I believe, it says, cast your cares on the Lord. I'm not the Lord. I will pray for you. I will be there for you as much as I can be, but I'm not going to let you drain me and exhaust me, especially when I see now your help is not genuine. The things that you need from me is more control and manipulation and not genuinely needing help. You have to know the difference. But that situation with Mimi and Mo, it's unfortunate. And there have been so many. Young Dolphin, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for subscribing. Like and subscribe. Those of you from TikTok, All Things Woman YouTube channel, check it out. Like, subscribe, and share. But there have been so many. And did I say, sidebar, we also have books. How to Be a Feminine Woman, The Blueprint. Get that book. It's available on Amazon. Girl on Girl Wars, a book on jealousy and envy amongst women. Get that book on Amazon. How to Detox from Toxic People. Get that book. 3 books we have available here at All Things Woman over on Amazon. Get those books. But ladies, there have been so many incidents of jealous and envy fuel raged crimes, harmful situation amongst women. Shanquilla Robinson, to name one. There was another young lady, a nursing student in Texas or Atlanta, I believe. Her roommate took her out of here. She was also a TikToker, an influencer. And her roommate, she was roommating with a 40-year-old man. He was 40-something, she was 20-something. They were roommating. And he actually took her out of here supposedly over a cat. A grown man took a woman out of here over a cat. Think about that. That's the story they gave you. But I'm almost certain that he was jealous of that girl. For him to take her out of here in the way that he did, it showed that that was like a crime of passion, as they say. When somebody has an ulterior motive, like it wasn't random, they deliberately did that. I can't imagine for him being a jealous, envious hater, seeing this young woman in the prime of her life. She was in nursing school. She was a TikToker, a nursing TikToker, where she would teach other women about how to stay encouraged while you're in nursing, how to stay encouraged while you're studying for nursing career. She did beauty content, and she was going to nursing school while being an influencer, helping other women to stay encouraged while being an influencer. I'm almost certain that this jealous, envious older man, who shouldn't have been roommating with a young lady in the first place, every time he saw her walk through with her book bag and her books and speaking intellectual, because some men, I have to say how it is, some men hate an educated woman. Some men get very threatened and intimidated, much like women, by seeing a smart, intelligent, driven woman. If you are a driven woman, I'm not saying Miss Independent, all of that. I'm saying if you're a woman with a good head on your shoulders and you really want to do it for yourself, you're doing great things, and he's sitting back worrying about a cat, I'm certain that he was jealous of this young lady, seeing her getting her TikToks and going to school for nursing, which is the reason why he took her out of here in the way that he did. If you're not familiar with that story of what happened to the TikToker, the nursing TikToker, I think it was about 3 or 4 months ago, or actually 2 months ago, check that story out. It's so unfortunate. And then, lest we never forget, the Mexican influencer who was taken out of here right live on TikTok. I believe her last name was Marquez, Valeria Marquez. Her own friend set her up to be taken out of here. It's said that she actually, got together with an ex-boyfriend of hers to take her out of here. This woman, and this is where those beauty leeches, those jealous women who look to siphon your energy, they are jealous of the influence you have. Not only was Valeria Marquez an influencer, but she had her own salon. And I know she probably was a model as well. She was beautiful. She had a lot of beauty content on TikTok. Some of those women who call themselves your friends and they watch you level up, some of those women are the ones you have to watch the most. I say that because they've seen you in two different elements. They saw you during the come up, as they say. They've seen you when you were actually just that regular average girl. And now they see you when you're doing things that are outside of the box. Now you're an influencer. Everybody doesn't do that. Now you're a model. You have your own hair salon. You're doing all these different things. And once again, it was a woman, Valeria Marquez. She was a woman who had a very sweet, a very kind spirit. From what I see in the videos. Don't know the people personally. I'm just looking at the videos. And I know that she did have a sweet and kind and gentle but naive spirit, because this woman was actually able to persuade her to stay at the salon longer than what she should have by offering her a stuffed animal and some tea. Ladies, I'll go back to what I said earlier. If you feel uncomfortable, don't let anybody persuade you to stay in an uncomfortable situation longer than you need to. People can pick up on the fact that you might be a little bit naive. And that's why I encourage you. They talk about street smart, womanly smarts, queen energy, as I call it. Queen energy has that smart, grown woman mentality that says, this person is smiling at me. That doesn't automatically mean they have my best intentions in mind. You have to be aware of that. Unfortunately, this young lady is not with us anymore. And they even said that her boyfriend was jealous of the gifts that she was getting from her followers. I'm telling you, as you level up as a woman, you have to make sure, you have to get laser focused on making sure you have people around you who support your vision, or at least respect it. I'm not saying they have to be involved and do the things you do. Everybody's not an influencer. Everybody's not a businesswoman. Everybody's not all these different things. But the least they can do is respect you enough to stay out of the way and not make things hard for you. But people who deliberately get in the way and try to make things hard for you to the extent that they want to put you in harm's way, normally there are red flags. You have to be aware of that. And this woman who actually, after what happened to Valeria Marquez, she removed the phone, and you could see in her eyes, they were like lifeless. This is spiritual. This woman, I saw photos of her and Valeria together. You could tell she was kind of mimicking her style, wanted to look like her and everything. Some women, it comes down to proximity. They want to be around you because they're hoping if they can get close enough to you, they can become you. Some women, they don't start off being envious of you, but they develop it over time. The more you level up, the more they develop that envy. They go from being your supporter to being your biggest hater. We saw this with very long ago story with Selena. The woman that she confided in so much suddenly became her biggest hater, to the point where she's no longer here. Ladies, protect yourselves. I am so passionate about this topic because I'm just tired of hearing these stories. I'm tired of hearing about how women are, one moment you're at a baby shower having a good time, and now you're being jumped. You're going out with a friend, have an argument, and now you're getting hit by a car. You're going out with a guy, and now they're setting you up to be taken out by some other women. Like, I'm tired of hearing these things. I need women to wake up. I'm sorry, like, I'm having a mother moment. I really need women to wake up. You can't trust everybody. You don't walk around paranoid, fearful, or afraid, but just read the signs, read the room. Know when you're dealing with people who don't have your best interests at heart. Pick up on the things they say. I'm not saying one off situation, nobody's perfect. We all say things we don't mean. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who have a pattern of putting you down, a pattern of being jealous and envious towards you. That's what I'm talking about. You have to not ignore the red flags. As women, that's important. That's going to protect you. These are people that try to convince you you're being too sensitive. It's because they want to be able to put you down and be a hater in peace. And you can't let them do that. But ladies, I'm going to end this live. I appreciate you all being here. If you have not subscribed, TikTok, subscribe to the All Things Woman YouTube channel. Over there, we discuss femininity, womanhood. I give you overall life advice. We have girl chats. We get into all different topics. But jealousy and envy is something that we talk about a lot because it's happening a lot amongst women. You have to know how to protect yourselves. And then YouTube family. Like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Share this content with other women. I appreciate how you support this channel via your Cash Apps, purchasing the books, purchasing the merchandise. I appreciate all of that. I'm working on a new book, hoping that it will be out later on this month. And also, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, I do not advertise this the way that I should, but I offer one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested, the email is always in the link of the description box of my videos, as well as the channel description. I'm going to be doing group coaching very soon. So be on the lookout for that, where we will be doing group coaching via Zoom. There will be a fee attached to that. So just be on the lookout for that. There will be a fee. It's not going to be high. It's not going to be outrageous, but there will be a fee, So be on the lookout for that group coaching. And I just appreciate you all. Ladies, do not take this jealousy and envy thing lightly. A lot of women have lost their lives over it. You might not think you're anything amazing or spectacular, but out there's some monitoring spirit sitting back looking at you like, who does she think she is? So be aware, be wise, and don't be taken over by these jealous, envious people, okay? Like, subscribe if you watch this live video till the very end. Put the high heel emoji in the comments section. I absolutely love to see it. TikTok, I'll be on live more often with you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the gifts. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.